Good morning. It's still early out. My animals are still sleeping here on the couch, and there's no sun yet. I like to get up early in the morning to get my reflection and my writing done because the heat of the sun has not come up yet, and I can get to my other animal chores and living with other people's schedules as the day warms up. Today is day 64, and it's going to be a nonlinear day check-in. I thought I'd explain a little bit about where I am at and whether I've noticed a difference. So over 64 days ago, although 64 days have been the video experiment, I started something I call living a nonlinear life. I got a random number generator on my phone, and I started plugging in the random number for every day, and then turning to that page in Christina Baldwin's Life's Companion book, and then sharing a lot of those days with you. My purpose of that is that we generally don't live our lives, well, some of us try to live our lives in a linear way, which means we do step 1, step 2, step 3. Most of us are familiar with that technique because that's how we went to school. That's how we completed our major life goals. I get married by this time. I have children. I buy a house. I get a job. I finish my college degree. Whatever your nonlinear path was, your linear path, because those are all steps that have been provided for you by other people. And so I thought about that, and I thought that it was probably a little too rigid, and it was time for me to be doing an experiment with the rigidity and seeing if I could change the way my life might be and learning to live with it. As you know, anything you want to try that's new, you can practice it. There's always room for practicing. And so I use the Kampf Tiny Experiments book to encourage me to set up the video experiment to see how this would work. And I've been doing it for 64 days now, this video process. Every day I've been doing something. And most days I use the random number generator when I start my journaling process to see where that might lead me. And I'm always just delighted to discover the universe has given me many gifts to go with that nonlinear number. I walk into a room with no context, and I learn to be comfortable with whatever I'm faced with. And human beings are just made to be making connections. And I always find a gift that comes from connecting with all the reading and the journaling that I've done. There usually is a theme of some kind during the day. So let's check in and see how well I've been doing. I've done 64 days now. And this past weekend, I went to a major event that I only go to once a year. And they encourage you to come to this dinner for the judges who are going to be judging at the event over the weekend. And so we have to show up. Now, in the beginning, when I first did this, I usually met many people that I worked with. And so I had a chance to catch up with them. Outside of your own private teaching studio, you don't get to see these people very often unless it's a faculty meeting. And usually that's not the circumstance you want to be visiting. In this case, I would walk into the room and I'm all by myself. And it was a very uncomfortable experience for me, but I did it because it was required of me. And I usually latched onto one or two people that I really enjoyed talking to, and then I glommed onto them every single year. And I would arrange in advance to maybe meet them when I got there or something like that. Well, this year I didn't do any such thing. And I got there very, very early because it's a long way away from me, and it's through Friday hour rush traffic. And it's a holiday weekend, so who knows what the traffic's going to be like, so I leave plenty of room. Now, I talk about using the nonlinear approach, which is my random number generator in general, because I just reassured myself it would be just like walking into a room and not knowing what conversations were going on, not having that context of what happened just before and what's going to happen and where are you now, and just walking in and having to make that instantaneous brain decision as to what's happening around here, who's talking about what, and how can I fit in to what's going on. Well, this year, having done this and having practiced it for quite some time now, I walked into the room, greeted the person, and was very open and calm and happy about it, and looked very quickly and figured out what was going on with those people and what they were probably thinking about and needing and feeling stressed about. And I just entered into a conversation with the people who were checking us in. And I was one of the few people that were there that early, so there was plenty of time for us to have a conversation. And then I walked into the room a little later and walked right into people that I knew who also come early because they come far away. And it was the same thing. I was able to enter into a conversation, make a new context almost immediately. So that is my check-in. I thought to myself later, I'm feeling perfectly calm, very relaxed. I'm not at all stressed out about this entire event. In fact, 2 new strangers came and sat down right at our table because we were closer to the door. And they sort of had a connection with somebody, but we didn't know each other at all. And it was their first time. And I could tell by watching them that they were extremely uncomfortable about doing this whole process, as I remembered myself having that same issue. So I was able to enter into instant conversations with them. And every time a new person came in and sat down, I was able to enter into a completely different interaction with them than I expected. And I know that came from practicing the nonlinear life, having to instantly make a decision or create whatever it is that I was going to do. So I either fit in or I created one. And generally, as this Friday night dinner showed me, I was creating my experience with each person that I interacted with. And it was a delightful experience. I was very calm, very relaxed. And the whole weekend progressed like that too. I met a lot of strange people because I met a lot of orchestra, school directors of smaller schools that I had not seen. Some of them I knew, some of them I was meeting for the very first time. And the only common element of the whole thing was my hall monitor, who was someone that has been doing hall monitoring for me for the last several years. And I even have her programmed in my phone, this young child. And her mother was there. I got to meet her mother. And so that was the only common element of the whole thing. The place was different. The forms looked different. My location within the room was different. Everything was different. The students might have been different, some of them. But they're always different because they're young. And so they always age so quickly at that age. So I just want to suggest to those of you who have not yet read that wonderful book called Tiny Experiments by Anne-Laurie Lecomte. I highly recommend it. It's a very easy and enjoyable read, and it's packed full of information in tiny ways that you can use and think about and make a really nice experiment with for yourself. Many different experiments. I make a list of things that I could possibly do. So that is my day 64 check-in. That is what a nonlinear day is for me. And I continue until day 65 and therefore until I reach 100 days.